Let's talk now. Let's talk.
Today, we're talking about UFC fighters who have made it clear that they don't like Conor McGregor.
You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Love him or hate him, McGregor is the most polarizing star the promotion has ever seen.
We had never seen Conor overcome adversity.
His knockout power and trash talk rocketed him to the top of the sport and to the top of pop culture. But that same brashness has cost him respect in the locker room. Let's get into why some of his peers still have a grudge and how those grudges developed over time. McGregor's rise was epic. He became the first UFC fighter to hold titles in 2 divisions at the same time by knocking out Jose Aldo for the featherweight belt in 13 seconds and defeating Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight belt. His Irish accent and ability to predict his own finishes turned him into a global star.
13 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by knockout.
That fame gave him license to say just about anything at press conferences, and he weaponized insults like no one before him. The problem is that he rarely kept the trash talk inside the cage. When he threw a hand truck at a bus in Brooklyn in April 2018, injuring other fighters and leading to 3 fights being canceled, he crossed a line that many feel can never be uncrossed. Since then, his behavior has included out-of-cage legal trouble, social media rants, and accusations that he avoided the USADA testing pool to recover from a broken leg. All of this has left a bitter taste in the mouths of several UFC fighters, so we're breaking down his biggest feuds. You know what the first one is. Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor had one of the most heated rivalries in MMA history. Their animosity predates their UFC 229 fight and is tied to McGregor's out-of-cage antics.
There's the tap! Still undisputed! Khabib Nurmagomedov!
In April 2018, McGregor and a few members of his team flew from Ireland to Brooklyn after hearing that Khabib had confronted Artem Lobov, Conor's training partner. At the Barclays Center, McGregor threw a steel dolly at a bus carrying several fighters, including Khabib. 2 fighters were injured by shattered glass and were forced off the UFC 223 card. This act was widely condemned and set the stage for a personal feud. During the build-up to UFC 229, McGregor took shots at Khabib's religion and family, and Khabib responded by promising to humble him. When they finally fought on October 6, 2018, Khabib dominated the bout and submitted McGregor in the 4th round. The rivalry did not end with the fight. In an August 2019 interview with ESPN, Khabib insisted that their conflict was not finished. He said that even after the fight, McGregor's behavior made it clear that the bad blood remained. In Khabib's words, "It's not enough. We have to smash all his team. We're going to fight, 100%. They go to hospital, and we go to the police." He expressed a desire to punish McGregor and his entourage beyond the sanctioned fight, signaling that the hatred was personal. Khabib's resentment stemmed not just from the bus attack and McGregor's insults, but also from what he called a lack of respect for the sport. After defeating Conor, Khabib jumped over the cage to confront McGregor's cornerman, sparking a melee. The Nevada Athletic Commission suspended both fighters and fined them, but Khabib continued to speak about McGregor with disdain. Over time, though, his tone softened. At a public appearance in New York in early 2025, describing their rivalry as a form of punishment that could lead McGregor to better himself. While the animosity still exists, Khabib's more recent comments show a willingness to let go if McGregor shows accountability. For most MMA fans, Khabib will forever represent the fighter who humbled McGregor on the biggest stage, and the bad blood may never fully evaporate. But we couldn't make a video on fighters who hate McGregor without mentioning the Diamond, Dustin Poirier. These two had a trilogy tarnished by threats and disrespect. Dustin Poirier's rivalry with McGregor began in 2014 when McGregor knocked him out in the 1st round at featherweight. At the time, Poirier admitted he was rattled by McGregor's trash talk and the magnitude of the moment.
And I knocked him out in the 1st round. You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
By the time they met again at UFC 257 in January 2021, Poirier had matured into a lightweight contender and had learned to ignore McGregor's mind games. He knocked McGregor out and leveled the series. Their third fight at UFC 264 in July 2021 ended in anticlimactic fashion when McGregor broke his tibia at the end of the first round. In the lead-up to that fight, McGregor's behavior reached new lows. He directed insults at Poirier's wife and, in a since-deleted social media rant, threatened to kill Poirier and his family in their sleep. The outburst disgusted many fans and fighters. For Poirier, the rivalry moved beyond competition. After his knockout win at UFC 257, he told reporters that McGregor had lost the aura he once carried. According to quotes published during Fight Week, Poirier said he viewed McGregor as just another man he could beat. The mystique was gone. He compared the repeated fights to business transactions rather than grudge matches. After the third bout and McGregor's broken leg, Poirier refused to celebrate prematurely, but later acknowledged that the fight would have gone similarly had it continued. McGregor's threats against his family and refusal to accept defeat soured any remaining respect Poirier had. While he does not speak about McGregor with the same venom as others on this list, his comments about the Irishman's lost aura and his refusal to engage with further insults show a clear disdain. Poirier has moved on and retired from competition, whereas McGregor continues to trade barbs from the sidelines. Now, few fighters match McGregor's ability to sell a fight like Nate Diaz. When Diaz stepped in on 11 days' notice and submitted McGregor at UFC 196, he derailed McGregor's hype train. Diaz reveled in the win and instantly became a pay-per-view sensation.
We had never seen Conor overcome adversity.
Yet he also believes that the UFC never gave him the respect he deserved. In the aftermath of UFC 196, the promotion booked an immediate rematch for McGregor, rather than moving Diaz into a title picture. Speaking to reporters ahead of what was initially supposed to be UFC 200, Diaz called the immediate rematch a gift for McGregor and complained about the lack of recognition for his win. He remarked, "How much praise has that motherfucker got? I've never gotten my losses back. This is a gift for him." Diaz's frustration stemmed from feeling that McGregor was treated differently than other fighters. The rematch ultimately took place at UFC 202 after a scheduling shuffle, and McGregor won a close majority decision in a 5-round brawl. The scorecards were contested by fans and analysts, and Diaz maintains that he did enough to win. The rivalry saw the two men trade endless insults, with McGregor mocking Diaz's speech and Diaz calling McGregor a little bitch. Diaz also referenced McGregor's wealth and claim of being Mystic Mac, implying that money and fame had softened him. Even after both fighters left the lightweight title scene, the tension lingered. Diaz returned to boxing in 2023 while McGregor has remained on the sidelines, but when asked about the Irishman, Diaz often shrugs and says that he's more interested in real fighters who want to fight, rather than online barkers. The bad blood between them is unlikely to go away. Each man sees the other as a measuring stick for star power, and each believes he got the better of their series. Now let's talk about the highlight reel. Justin Gaethje is known for his wild fighting style and willingness to face anyone. After winning the BMF title at UFC 291 in July 2023, he was asked whether he would call out McGregor for a big payday. Gaethje responded with a firm rejection. He said that if McGregor called him, he would not jump at the opportunity because he refuses to fight someone he believes is cheating.
Gaethje looks phenomenal right now.
You're seeing a different Gaethje from the first fight. You're seeing a more patient, more tactical Gaethje.
In a post-fight press conference quoted by MMA Fighting, Gaethje stated, "I'm not going to fight someone on steroids. I've never taken steroids, and I don't want to fight someone that's cheating." Gaethje's comments referred to McGregor temporarily leaving the USADA testing pool while recovering from a broken leg, something other fighters pointed out as suspicious. He insisted that fighters who play by the rules should not have to fight those who may be gaming the system. Gaethje's stance was notable because he was one of the few top lightweights who did not publicly lobby for a red panty night with McGregor. He instead focused on defending his BMF belt against ranked contenders. In interviews, he emphasized that he did not care about McGregor's fame and that he would rather compete against clean fighters. Gaethje's refusal to play along with McGregor's antics likely cost him a lucrative payday, but it reinforced his reputation as a no-nonsense competitor. For his part, McGregor responded by calling Gaethje a nobody on social media. The feud never escalated to a contract, but the animosity remains. Gaethje has said he'd only fight McGregor if the Irishman re-enters the testing pool and proves he is clean. Until then, he says, there's no point wasting his time on someone he views as dishonest. Islam Makhachev, the lightweight champion and Khabib's protege, has never shared the octagon with McGregor, but he has strong opinions about him. In a 2025 interview on Complex, Makhachev was asked about McGregor's long-awaited return. He dismissed the possibility. "No, this guy will never come back. Khabib broke his mind. He is not going to fight anymore. I told this like 2 years ago, but I still think he is not going to fight." Makhachev noted that McGregor's loss to Khabib shattered his confidence, and he added that McGregor faced a disqualification from the Anti-Doping Commission, implying that drug testing issues would prevent a comeback. While McGregor has repeatedly announced his intention to fight Michael Chandler, Makhachev believes those declarations are just talk. Makhachev's comments reflect loyalty to Khabib and a view that McGregor's decline is permanent. He often points out that while McGregor tweets about returns, he has not signed a bout agreement since 2021. In Makhachev's eyes, the Irishman's focus on fame and business ventures has replaced his fighting edge. Calling someone's mind broken is an incendiary accusation, but it underscores how little respect Makhachev has for McGregor. Unless McGregor actually returns and wins fights, it is unlikely that Makhachev will change his view. For fans, Makhachev's blunt assessment is another example of a top fighter openly dismissing McGregor's relevance. Rafael dos Anjos was scheduled to face McGregor for the lightweight title in 2016, but withdrew with a broken foot. That missed opportunity has haunted him ever since. After defeating Bryan Barberena at UFC Orlando in December 2022, Dos Anjos used his post-fight interview to call out McGregor.
Winning fights, and I think I have the right to call somebody, and I want to call out Conor McGregor.
During an appearance on the MMA Hour, he said he was ready to fight the Irishman. According to a report summarizing the interview, Dos Anjos said, "I'll fight him now. That's a guy that everything he's for, I'm against. All his values are against my values. If we are in high school, that's the type of guy that we're going to fight in the school. That's for sure. I don't like him, and I want this fight." He characterized McGregor as the opposite of what he stands for, and suggested they would have brawled outside of a professional setting. Dos Anjos also questioned McGregor's physical transformation during his injury layoff. He told interviewer Ariel Helwani that McGregor looks like he's juicing up, and implied that the Irishman would not return to lightweight because of his added muscle. Dos Anjos acknowledged that this is speculation, but he insisted that the UFC should book him against McGregor to settle old business. He said the fight would sell because of their history, and he argued that his own longevity and loyalty to the company merit the matchup. Whether or not the fight ever happens, Dos Anjos has made it clear that he dislikes McGregor's persona and sees him as someone who crosses moral lines. The accusations of juicing further illustrate the distrust many fighters have about McGregor's absence from the testing pool. Kamaru Usman, the former welterweight champion, usually keeps his opinions measured, but even he has grown tired of McGregor's insults. In May 2024, McGregor appeared on a live stream and belittled several fighters, including Usman, calling him a little bald Malteser head and questioning his relevance after consecutive losses.
And any one of these little mouthy fools can get it.
In response, Usman addressed the comments on the Pound for Pound podcast. He said that calling him a bum was disrespectful and pointed out that he never insulted McGregor during the Irishman's legal troubles. "To call me a bum is kind of disrespectful. I didn't disrespect you when you were having your troubles," Usman said. He then offered some advice. "It's better if you put that whiskey bottle down and actually come back to your wits and be a good father and a good role model." Usman emphasized that he had offered McGregor title fights when he was champion and that McGregor declined, so he found the insults hypocritical. Usman's response is telling because it was both scolding and paternal. He reminded McGregor that his behavior affects his children and that being a global star comes with responsibility. Unlike some fighters who trade vulgar insults with McGregor, Usman chose to highlight character and sobriety. His message resonated with many fans who feel McGregor's whiskey promotion and bar fights have eclipsed his fighting career. Whether McGregor will heed that advice is doubtful, but Usman's rebuke shows that even former champions have grown weary of being targets for McGregor's barbs. The Nigerian-American star has since moved on to pursue rematches and title shots, leaving the McGregor talk behind. Jorge Masvidal's relationship with McGregor is complicated. Both men rose from street fighting backgrounds to become pay-per-view draws. After Masvidal's explosive 2019 campaign, many fans clamored for a fight between him and McGregor at welterweight. On The Rich Eisen Show in January 2020, Masvidal revealed that his management had reached out to McGregor's team, but were told that McGregor's side wasn't interested. "It's not something they want," Masvidal said.
Why aren't you fighting Conor McGregor, Jorge Masvidal?
You can't ask me that. You gotta ask Conor, you know?
He told McGregor to go do your thing, and implied that the Irishman knew fighting him would not end well. Masvidal proclaimed himself the sheriff in town at 170 pounds and said McGregor could either step up or stay away. Masvidal's choice of words struck many as dismissive. He didn't beg for the fight or try to entice McGregor with trash talk. He simply said the matchup was off the table because McGregor's team knew he would get hurt. Masvidal's star continued to shine with wins over Nate Diaz and a high-profile BMF title run, while McGregor stayed at lightweight. The two have occasionally jabbed at each other on social media, but the fight never materialized. Masvidal retired from the UFC in April 2023, yet he still fields questions about the Irishman. He responds by saying the ship sailed because McGregor never truly wanted it. This rejection may be less about hatred and more about boredom, but it underscores a theme. Many fighters view McGregor as all talk and little action these days. Even his former friends have turned on him. Artem Lobov was once McGregor's close friend and training partner. The two came up together at Straight Blast Gym in Dublin, with Lobov often serving as a sparring partner. Their bond seemed unbreakable until business got in the way. In November 2022, ESPN reported that Lobov filed a lawsuit in Ireland seeking 5% of profits from Proper No. 12, the whiskey brand McGregor co-founded. Lobov claimed he pitched the idea for an Irish whiskey to McGregor and turned down an early $1 million offer. He alleged that he helped source the distillery and develop the brand, but was cut out of the profits. A spokesperson for McGregor responded that the whiskey was created and promoted by McGregor and his company, and that Lobov's claims were incorrect. The lawsuit indicated a complete breakdown of their relationship. In December 2023, Lobov shared alleged text messages as evidence in the lawsuit. According to a report by MMA Fighting, the messages showed McGregor telling Lobov, "You are always there for me. I appreciate all your work," and promised that he would look after him. Lobov argued that the texts prove he was instrumental in launching the whiskey and that he was promised compensation. McGregor's camp disputed the relevance of the messages, and a judge dismissed an unrelated Twitter injunction that Lobov sought. The case has not been resolved publicly as of November 18, 2025. While Lobov is no longer a UFC fighter, his legal battle with McGregor demonstrates how business disputes can turn friends into adversaries. It also reinforces the perception among some fighters that McGregor prioritizes his own interests over loyalty. Daniel Cormier is a former two-division champion and now a commentator. He rarely engages in feuds, but he spoke out in July 2021 when McGregor tweeted and then deleted a message mocking Khabib Nurmagomedov's late father. Cormier said on ESPN's DC and RC show that the tweet absolutely crossed the line, adding that it seemed like a cry for help. He suggested that McGregor's social media behavior had become reckless and that someone in his life needed to intervene. Cormier's comments were widely shared because he is respected for his professionalism and because he rarely criticizes fighters personally. Cormier also said that he was disappointed as a parent and as someone who knows loss. He explained that losing a father is devastating and that mocking someone's grief is unacceptable. His critique highlighted a recurring theme in McGregor's feuds. He often targets family members and personal tragedies, which alienates fellow fighters. Although Cormier did not say he hates McGregor, he made it clear that he disapproved of his behavior and believed the Irishman needed to reflect on his actions. Coming from a man who has fought John Jones twice and handled some of the nastiest trash talk in UFC history, Cormier's admonition carried weight. It signaled that even fighters who are not directly involved in McGregor's orbit can be disturbed by his lack of boundaries. The fighters covered here represent different weight classes, eras, and personalities, yet their reasons for disliking McGregor share common threads. Many are put off by his trash talk, veering into personal territories, mocking family members, religion, or tragedies, which they see as disrespectful and unnecessary. Others resent the preferential treatment he has received from the UFC, such as immediate rematches, the ability to avoid the USADA pool and still headline pay-per-views, or exemptions from normal protocols. Some, like Gaethje and Dos Anjos, believe he skirts anti-doping rules to gain advantages, while others, such as Masvidal, simply think he is all talk when it comes to accepting dangerous fights. Business disputes, like the one with Artem Lobov, further undermine trust. Even fighters like Usman and Cormier, who typically avoid drama, have felt compelled to call him out when he crosses lines. Another factor is how McGregor's star power distorts incentives. Fighters who hate him must decide whether to compromise their principles for a big payday or stand firm and risk being overlooked. Diaz took the fights and earned life-changing money, yet still feels disrespected. Gaethje refused the payday on principle. RDA and Makhachev want to fight him to prove a point or to collect a check, but they simultaneously question his integrity. The UFC, for its part, often indulges McGregor because of his drawing power, which can breed resentment among fighters who feel they are held to stricter standards. Conor remains the most divisive figure in UFC history. He is celebrated for his knockouts and ability to elevate the sport, yet many of his peers see him as a toxic presence who disrespects opponents, skirts rules, and puts self-interest above everything. Whether he returns to the cage or drifts further into celebrity life, his legacy will include the long list of fighters who openly despise him. Their stories offer a cautionary tale about fame and ego in combat sports. We've covered the main voices who have expressed their dislike for him, but there are countless others who quietly share those sentiments. As McGregor's career continues, we'll see whether he repairs relationships or adds even more names to his list of enemies. Even fighters not covered in depth, such as Tony Ferguson, Michael Bisping, or Max Holloway, have at times voiced frustration with McGregor's antics. Some call him an Instagram fighter, suggesting he is more interested in likes than rounds. Others remember how he announced retirement multiple times, only to return with a new business venture to promote. These criticisms might not rise to the level of hatred, but they contribute to the broader perception that McGregor plays by a different set of rules. All of these episodes help explain why a man who once captivated the MMA world now elicits groans from so many corners of the locker room. What do you think of the notorious antics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to MMA Rivals so you don't miss the next ones.